Hello everyone, it's Nancy with Paper Moon Tarot, and I am going to do the hashtag Standout Decks of 2023, and this is from the three readers out of Julie at Peekaboo Rose's channel, and I think they do this every year, so I'm joining in. Let's see, I've got 5 tarot decks and I've only got 3 oracles because I'm really not an oracle person. So when I thought about this for the tarot decks, it was like they aren't necessarily my favorite decks of the year. You know, they may be, some of them. They aren't, you know, the most expensive, the least expensive, whatever, you know, categories other people have been using. To me, they kind of just ended up being decks that were a little bit of a surprise to me, that they're kind of out of my usual wheelhouse of what I look for in a deck. And I thought that was kind of interesting, that those were the ones that were coming up for me. So I'm going to start with the Mind's Eye Tarot. I don't even know where the box is gone. I've got it in another box. Mass market deck. And it's very much a kind of children's book illustration style, but not cartoony. It's really pretty. So it's mass market, and I go in for a lot of indie decks, but I do buy mass market decks too, and this is one of them. And B, it's kind of childy art. Excuse me. But I was just surprised at how much I liked it. A linen cardstock, which is nice. Very clear titles, which is nice. The colors are beautiful. The details are beautiful, and I just really like this one. And when I got it, you know, I thought it was pretty online, and I got it, and I thought, oh, it's going to be too many young people and too childlike, but you know, it's not. I mean, it does have a lot of young people, but that's such beautiful artwork. I really love it. So that kind of surprised me as a deck that I'd really, really like. You know, there's like a mushroom with an eye in it. So it's quirky, you know, eyes on the fairy's wings. It's quirky, it's beautiful artwork. And I just love it. So there you go. There's the Mind's Eye Tarot, and why it just jumped out at me. You know, if you're calling standout decks, standout's kind of an odd word, isn't it? It's not necessarily favorite. Could be a standout bad deck, but anyway, it stood out for me because I was like, huh, it's interesting that I got that, and I really like it. This next one kind of falls into the same category. It's the Heartscape Tarot. It looked kind of, I don't know, pretty flowery artwork, and it's a landscape deck, which I don't have anything particular against, but it's a little unusual. Some of the art can just be kind of simple, if it focuses. Come on. But you look at some of these cards and they're kind of weird. You know, there's a little bit of surrealism in this deck that I wasn't sure. I'd seen some cards, like here's our Judgment card, where it's like, well, that's odd. And then I've seen others that are really just pretty and almost too pretty for me. But look at that, 8 of Swords. That's very cool. Look at the 2 of Pentacles. It just surprised me as not being just a pretty deck. It certainly has cards like this that are just pretty, but it also has a different take on some things, which I love in a deck. You know, if it's not going to be any different than the RWS deck, you know, in terms of it's the way you'd interpret it, then it's not bringing me that much. I love an 8 of Wands that isn't a whole bunch of wands flying through the air, for example. So it's pretty. That's a beautiful picture of the leaves and the fox. But it's also weird. So when I got it, you know, I bought it thinking, I don't know, and I got it and think, I really like this. I've pulled it out tons of times this year. I like the horizontal orientation of it. And again, it kind of goes from pretty to a little weirder or just different. The Two of Swords. It's a blindfolded fox in the woods with one sword. Okay, what's he going to do? What's his choice? To take the blindfold off and move forward, or to leave it on? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, I really like the Heartscape Tarot. The moon card is on the cover, and the moon card is one of those like really surrealistic, odd, interesting cards in the deck. So that was the second deck that was a standout for me. Third deck that was a standout, because it's so well thought out and so different, and you've all seen this one, the Tarot Oneness. I like the art. It's not the most wonderful art I've ever seen, but you know, I do like the colors, I like the art, but I love how, you know, everything is from your perspective in the deck. Kind of know that. But it took so much thought to do that the knights are all a landscape with a shadow of a knight on it. You're the knight on the horse, and there's your shadow. How were you going to make it seem like you're the knight? Well, the creator chose to give a shadow of a guy on a horse, person on a horse. Four of Pentacles. You're up there at the top of the tree, the hollow tree, hoarding all these coins. Nine of Swords. Your perspective when you're laying in bed. So it took some thought to come up with these cards there. And again, I love the coloring. But Temperance, you're standing in the water. You're not showing kind of the essence of the card, but you're showing what it would feel like to be in the card, I guess. Eight of Cups, just cutting a cord, breaking away. So everyone's seen this, but I like this one because it's different. It's a different take on tarot, and it makes me think. So for that reason, it stands out to me. Okay, that was the third. The second deck, counting down to number 2, is the Solara Beo Tarot, and that's because I just got this. For years, I've kind of avoided this deck. Not avoided, but, you know, I've looked at it and said, well, it's kind of cartoony, it's kind of childish. Everybody loves it, you know, it's kind of overdone out there since I started doing tarot several years ago. It's everywhere, and do I really need it? You know, that kind of thing. And then I discovered that the creator was offering the 7th edition because there was an extra card in it and a missing card, something like that. So she was offering it for like $20. And so I got it. I was like, well, $20. She's also reasonably local to me, nearby, which there are so many nearby artists in the Pacific Northwest. And I got it, and I do love it. I love, it's got nice cardstock. All of these do, or I wouldn't even show them. It's simple in its interpretation. The colors are very vibrant, and it's different from a lot of the decks that I have, because I probably have avoided somewhat cartoony or simple decks. I never know why she has a black nose, but we won't go into that. But it's just a very sweet, simple take on these cards. And also allow you to say, okay, why is that judgment? What is that about her that makes her be judgment? So there are some ones where you, some cards where you sort of say, well, that's a different take. Where are the two dogs? Where's the crustacean? We've got someone crying in the dark. The moon is a dark card. The moon is about hidden things. How does that card say that? And so I do love this deck. And it's a shame I waited so long, but that's okay. So this was kind of a surprise to me, which is why it's a standout, because I never thought I'd like it, and I like it. So that is number 4. I like the backs too, they're pretty. Number 1, well, it's not as much a surprise to me because I saw this deck ages ago on someone's site, and it wasn't available. The Solara Tarot, the original, it was out of print. And then this one showed up in a Kickstarter, and I thought, okay, now I'm going to get it because I was intrigued by it before. I'm just signing up, you know. Got grease on it. And I thought the art was intriguing and folksy and, you know, kind of primitive in a way. And I actually do like that kind of artwork. So, and I love the color palette. And I love, again, that it's got a little different take on some things. You know, here's strength, which is a lion's head on a woman's body with a dragon snake tail. I don't know. But it does have a different take on some of these cards. And it's beautiful production quality. Absolutely beautiful. I hate the glossy backs because they're going to chip. But you know, it's again simple, but it works and gives you some new things to work with than other decks do. The Magician, again, has this coiled snake around his arm. And has above, so below, he's got, what, fans? Feathered fans? Something like that. But anyway, it's a beautiful deck. Beautiful art. I've waited a long time and it popped up and I grabbed it. And so that was a surprise that it popped up, that I grabbed it. So that would be, if there's any ranking to these at all, the number 1 of 5 tarot decks. Now, just because I'm only doing 3 oracles, I'm also going to throw in 2 honorable mentions for tarot. And I kind of didn't do these because I've shown them a lot. They're my favorite, well, my old favorite and then my new favorite. Dream Vision Tarot by Emma Zhang is an absolutely stunning deck. And if you wanted to know my favorite, most years since I've gotten this, but this is the 2nd edition that did come out this year. It's tall and thin, this width. So I really like what she's done on the 2nd edition, and it's got blue gilding on the side, and again, sort of a different take. You've got that 5 of Cups where it just looks like that person's really sad, but it's not, and the whole mood of the colors and so forth. So anyway, it's an honorable mention. Dream Vision, if you'd ask me my favorite decks of the year, you know, that would be a favorite. And a new favorite is which I've just done a video on, is Remembering the Sweet Fool Tarot. And so that's definitely a favorite. So this is a new favorite. And so those are 2 honorable mentions that really, if you ask me my favorite decks at the moment, it would be these. Okay, now oracles. As I said, I don't really go in for oracles very much, but I do have 3 that I thought were worth showing. Probably number 3, if I need to rank them, is In Dreams. Now, if you don't know me, you may not realize that I really don't use oracles for their meanings, their vibe, their intuition, their whatever. With one like this, I really don't even much look in the book to find out what that's supposed to mean. I buy oracles that I like the art of. And this one definitely has some very interesting art. And that's the backs, and even the backs are pretty on this. The color scheme is beautiful. If you wanted to pair it with, there's several autumnal sort of decks that I can see pairing it with. Cardstock is okay. It's a mass market deck, and I think I got it for like 10 bucks on Amazon. It's not a lot. If you wanted to buy this and cut it up and use it in journals, it's well worth it. And I, that's not to say that the book isn't good, that if you used it as an inspirational tool of some kind, it wouldn't be great. I just don't use oracles that way. So that's In Dreams. And I think you'll agree that's pretty interesting art on this deck. And there'll be links below on where to buy this one and Mind's Eye and whatever's mass market. So that's In Dreams. Number 2, again for the art, is the Archeo, Nick Bantock. And this one has really interesting art. Mass market again. Again, I think I got it for not much money. I'd gotten a book, Sabine and Griffin, I think, whatever, by this author, by this illustrator, and I loved it. So when I saw this, I said, yeah, these are the kind that, like, I would frame. I'd put 3 of them in a frame or something. And this is about archetypes. It's the Archeo. So you'll have like a name like Wanderer with the symbol. This one is Star Climber. I guess that's an archetype. So if you want to get into the book, it is a pretty substantial book. If you wanted to look at, what the archetypes are, you get a lot of information on, how to use this as a true oracle. But again, I use it to pull out and look at the art. Occasionally I'm sort of starting to get into pairings. I might pull out a tarot deck and see how the art goes together and maybe have an impression of what the oracle says, what the oracle card means. But that's that. So that's my second oracle deck. My first, actually, number 1, is the Zammer Twins Oracle by Patrick Valenza. Again, this is one where you'd have to kind of pull the book out to really find out. There are titles on these, like Purgation and the Old Devil, but to really find out what the fawn is about, you'd kind of have to pull out the book, Mercurius. But so I don't much. When I first got the deck, I pulled it out and read some things. But again, I pulled out for the art. I pulled out because the cards are that nice, tall, narrow card stock that I really like. I just pull it out and look at this art, which is kind of a departure for Patrick Valenza in a way. It's not those funny moon creatures, neither is it one that wants to focus. There we go. It's more like medieval art, that bizarre medieval art that you see in Serpent and Peacock. And I just think the imagination and the talent brought to this artwork is amazing. So that's Matrimony. Doesn't look like a positive take on matrimony, but who knows. So that's the number 1 oracle, which is the Zammer Twins. So let me know what you think. Do you have some of these? Do you like them? Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.